Hi creators, welcome to yet another easy tutorial by your one and only Zion Creativity. It's something we've done before, but this particular tutorial has just a little difference in the style. So sit back and enjoy the video. Here's the fabric I'll be using for this tutorial. It's just 3 yards. You need just 3 yards for this particular simple and comfortable style. So I just need you to pay full attention to what I'm going to do. It's very easy and very straightforward. The first thing I need to do now is to first cut out the gathered area of the gown. I mean the lower part of the gown. And how do I do that? Now listen carefully. The gown length for this tutorial is 39 inches. I'll first cut out the gathered area, and that will be, I like to use like 10 inches for that. Then I won't forget to add my seam allowance of 2 inches, 1.5 for folding, and a half inch to join it to the upper part. So I have 12 inches to cut out for the gathered area. So 10 inches minus gown length of 39 inches, I'll be left with 29 inches. So that means I'll be using 29 inches for the upper part, and I won't forget to add 1 inch seam allowance to that also. I believe that is clear. We can now proceed to do our necessary markings. I'll need to first arrange the selvages and make sure it aligns very well. All the 4 pieces, it's folded into like 4. This is all the 3 yards are folded together. So I'll need to arrange the selvages together. So before doing all my markings. And after that, I'll just mark my 12 inches. I'll mark it all the way down and cut it out. Then I'll set it aside. I'll go ahead now to cut the upper bodies, and I'll start by folding the fabric into two using the biggest body measurement, which is the hip because it's a gown. I'll be working with hip 44. Quarter of that will give me 11 inches. All I need to do is to add 4 inches seam allowance, and a total of that will be 15 inches. So that means I'll be folding the fabric into two with 15 inches wide. Then I'll like to cut the front and back bodies separately. Then let me fold the fabric on the right side so we can see clearly. Moving on, I'll start by taking the shoulder measurement, which is 15 inches. Half of that will give me 7.5, so I'll mark 7.5 here. And after that, the remaining measurement I have here, which is 8.5, will serve as the sleeve. Once that is done, I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. And after that, I'll also mark the neck weights on 3.5 inches. Then I can now link the neckline to this 1.1 inch point in order to create the shoulder slope. The next thing I'll do now is to take the vertical measurement. I'll indicate 10.5 inches on the bust line and 17 inches on the waistline, then 25 inches on the hip line. And for the horizontal measurement, I will indicate quarter of the bust circumference on 10 inches plus 4 inches allowance. That will give me 14 inches. I'll mark 14 inches here. And quarter of the waist circumference is 8.5 plus 4 inches allowance. That equals to 12.5 inches. And quarter of this hip circumference, 11 inches plus 4 inches seam allowance. That will give me 15 inches. I'll connect the lines with the French curve. And for the sleeve opening, 10.5 inches is okay by me. I'll just give it a little curve here. I'll mark 10.5 inches and then give it a little curve. Then cut it out. Remember I said I need just 29 inches for the main bodies plus 1 inch seam allowance. That will give me 30 inches. So I have 30 point something inches here. I'll just trim off a little excess I have here. So here is my 30 inches main bodies. Back to the neckline, remember the neck weight is 3.5 inches. I'll then mark 1.5 inches for the neck depth. I'm cutting both the front and back neckline together. Then I'll trim it off. Having cut out the neckline, I'll then separate it and only work on the front neckline. I'll be making use of this for the front neckline. All I need to do now is just to mark 2 inches all through, then I'll connect it to the neckline with a straight ruler. These are what I've cut so far. We're done with the cutting part. We need to proceed to the sewing part. And the first thing we'll do now is to place both the front piece and the back piece together. Then we first stitch it at the shoulder with half an inch. This piece is what will be used to gather it to the main bodies. It's as long as 3 yards. So I'll fold the hem, and after folding the hem, I'll fold it together like so. Then once I fold it together like this, I'll stitch down this place. After stitching down that place, I'll fold into 4 and give it a notch. I have to notch it before gathering it so that the gathers will be even. And back to this, you can see I've joined the shoulder. And here is the plain fabric I'll be using for the built-up collar, as well as the sleeve. I'll be using it for both the collar and the sleeve. And for the sleeve, I have like 10 inches, even though it's unfold. So that means I'm going to make it 20 inches long. So I'll come right here and fold into 2. I'll fold the neckline into 2 and give it a notch so as to know the center. Then after that, after notching the center, I'll come right here to measure round, and whatever I have will be used to cut the built-up collar. So I'll measure it from the down, straight up, and over again, down to the hemline all over again. And you can decide to just fold into 2 and mark it and measure it once rather. So altogether I have like 73 1/4. So I've already cut out the plain fabric I'll be using for the sleeve and the collar. So here I have 2 pieces for the sleeve, and I have like 5 inches by 21 inches. So unfold, that will give me like 2.5 inches. I'll just fold into 2 and then stitch it on top of the Ankara. And this is the material I'll be using for the collar. Remember, the total collar length is 73 1/4. It's in 2 pieces because of shortage of fabric. So I'll join it together with half an inch here. I'll just place it on top of each other, then join it with half an inch. So here I went ahead to fold into 2 and iron so I can have this crease line here. That is the center where I joined it. So I have the crease line already. Then I'll just open it up this way. I'll open it up on fold of 2. You can see it's on fold of 2. So we have to open it up before we can create our neckline. And to determine the neckline, I have to fold the main bodies, the Ankara. I'll have to fold it into 2 and measure whatever we have at the back neckline, and I have 4 inches here. Also, we have to determine how deep we want our front neckline to be, and I'll go for 9 inches. 9 inches is okay by me. So the 9 inches, I'll add it to the 4 inches that we already marked for the back neckline. So 9 plus 4, that will give me 13 inches. I'll just come here at the center and mark 13 inches. So if you want it to, if you want the front neckline to be more deeper, you can go by 10 inches. Then you add your 10 inches to that 4 inches. So right here, I'll just stitch down on this crease line. And here it is after stitching. I'll just try and turn it this way. Just look at the way I'm turning it carefully. So once I turn it, you'll see that the collar is already in good shape. So the only thing we need to do now is just to stitch it to the Ankara. So I'll open up the Ankara dress and look for the midpoint of the Ankara and also the midpoint of the collar. I'll put it together with a pin, then I'll stitch it straight to the hem. I'll also do the same to the other side. And here it is, our gown is almost ready. We're done with the collar and the sleeve. The next thing we need to do now is to reconfirm the gown length before joining it to the gathers piece. But before joining the gathers, I will need to attach the belt. And how do I do that? From the shoulder, I'll look for the waistline. I'll measure the waistline, and the waistline I'm working with is 16 inches. So right on 16 inches, I'll just mark it and give it a notch. And since I've notched here, I have to notch the other side too. Therefore, I'll just fold it on top like so, then notch it too. And here is what I cut out for the belt. It's 5 inches by 33 long. You can make it 1 yard. That means you're using 36 inches. I'll fold into two. After folding into two, I'll just, go in by 2.5 inches. Once I go in by 2.5 inches, I'll slant it and trim it off just to give it a nice shape at the edge. After doing this, I'll do same to the second piece. Then I'll head to the sewing machine to stitch it up. And here is the belt. The only thing I need to do now is to just place it on the notch on both sides of the Ankara and sew it together at once with the side seam. And afterwards, I'll just, join the gathers to the main bodies. I'll try and adjust it to fit the main bodies. Finally, we've come to the end of this tutorial, and here is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do well to hit on the like button and also let me know your thoughts in the comment section.